Welcome to The Real and the Woo. I'm your host, Laurie Stern. Join me as I invite experts and friends to discuss a range of topics, from the factual and practical to the mystical and magical. Consider this your virtual happy hour filled with lively, authentic, and meaningful conversations meant to inform, inspire, and ignite your curiosity. Whether you are very real or super woo, this podcast is just for you. Welcome to The Real and the Woo. I'm your host, Laurie Stern, and I'm here with two celebrities in my mind and my heart that I was so excited to have on because these first few episodes are dedicated to the people who have really inspired so much in my life, but for sure this podcast. And you two are one of those catalysts. And so I want you to please introduce yourselves to the listeners, who you are, and then we'll get into our amazing conversations. And I can't wait to do that. So Scott and Marla Berger, thank you for being with me today, and take it away for just a little bit, will you?
Well, one, thank you for having us, Laurie. We're the ones that feel blessed and grateful to be a part of your journey as you're with us every day on ours and to spread light and love. And Marla and I, as you were just mentioning, we founded the Tree of Life Movement and the Tree of Life Movement Foundation. And it's all about unifying this beautiful world. It's a spiritual awakening, but it's all about speaking our truth, being our authentic selves, asking for what we truly need in our lives today to make us all the best versions of who we are so we can continue to help others. And it's just in a time that's so needed. And as you know, when we get together, I always say or laugh and giggle. If we really start sharing, we're going to need a sleepover and a long weekend. And sometimes Marla never gets a word in.
Go ahead, Marla. The floor is yours.
Yes, Scott has great things to share and they're important. So I usually will add when I need to. But yes, thank you for having us. We're grateful to be here and we're excited to share our journey with you. And we say through our business, we found our purpose. And so we're living our purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a few examples I'm grateful in my life, and I know Spirit has, of course, brought them to me, right? But I've also done enough work to notice when I'm around people who are living their authentic selves. And if there were two people in the world who are an example of that, it's you guys. You know, every post you make on Facebook or Instagram, every conversation we have, every good idea that you bring to the table, you are just oozing your authentic enthusiasm for really creating a oneness consciousness for the entire planet. And I don't take that statement lightly at all. And I know there's some people out there who are like, yeah, whatever. And that's okay, right? When we do our thing, we raise the vibrations for everybody and everything. So whether they ask us to or not, by, like you said, shining and sharing our light, we are doing our jobs as way showers and light bringers. And I just really need to thank you for living your truth, because that is really what I hope for the entire planet. Everything that's living, breathing on legs and wings and fins. Everybody should just do their thing and rock it.
You're correct. And that's the beauty of, as Marla and I always speak about, is being your authentic self and being that I am presence that we're supposed to be. And when you can be Lori or Marla and Scott or the individual being their authentic self, the world will see you for who you are. And that's what you attract. So your vibration, that light, as you were sharing, light attracts light. That vibration attracts the same vibration. And it's so important right now to keep that vibration high, especially with what we're seeing in this world today, because there's a lot of negativity and darkness or whatever you want to label it. And it is our responsibility to show up wherever we are to bring that to those that maybe have had their light put out. And everyone's going through something, which is okay. But it's how we embrace the pain, the trauma, the obstacles to move forward with it. So we can then help those going through the same things and help get them over those challenges, those hurdles and obstacles, to watch them fill up so they can do the same for another. And
Mhm,
thank you for your beautiful words about Marla and I. But again, it goes back to I am that I am.
mhm,
And anyone in this world is perfect just who they are. And that's who we have to be. When we let the world see who we are,
mhm.
wow, right?
Right,
That's perfection, not from
right.
ego, vanity, but it's you being authentic.
Just for everyone out there, I don't care what you call me. You can call me late for dinner. You can call me Larry. I'm just not Lori. And
It's
it's a thing
Laurie.
with
I'm
me and it's
so bad.
okay. It's totally,
And when it's
uh,
Marla just said, I don't even get our 4 kids' names. I call
I don't,
Ash, Hayden, Jaddy, and it's just I'm so bad. So I apologize, but you're
no,
so
that's
sister and
okay.
I love you. So thank you for correcting me, Laurie.
I just need to say, like, I'm channeling my mom. She just recently passed away, and I'm one of 4 kids. God love my mother. I don't remember people's names. I'll be able to tell you what we're wearing, what we ate at that meal, what we discussed. I will not remember what you do for a living right off the bat, and I will not remember your name. And, you know, in my yoga world, that's a problem sometimes because people come to my class. Of course, they know my name. I know where they put their mat. I know what they wore last week. I know how I adjusted them. But I'll tell people now it's going to take me like 3 times before I get your name. And my mom would say, honey, that's because you're just more interested in who they are versus what they do or what their name is. And it's such a nice thing, although people's names are a thing and that really is who they are. So I try to do better with that. So,
I love that. And thank you
yeah,
for correcting me that. And that's,
that's okay.
you're so correct. To this day, even my whole life, I have friends, and I'm talking back to when we were 5 years old. I still have never asked them what they do for a living because it doesn't define who they are. It's maybe their profession, but that's not their soul. So I love you and
Yeah.
I so connected, even though
Yeah.
I'll never forget because I love the Larry Atari. If that's, I used to play Atari my whole life. So this is good.
I know. You have to be a certain age to understand it. Um,
Absolutely. Right.
yeah. So, all right. So here's what I want to start with because there's so many nuggets with you guys. You're just full of gold. I would like to tell everyone, because I don't even know really, besides what you do for your living, which we'll get to, which is the most transformative piece of jewelry that I own besides my wedding ring. How did you two meet? And then I'd like to know, how did you two come up with the whole intention necklace idea? Was it when you met? So kind of tell your story a little bit, if you don't mind, your love story. You're like the most loving people. You're so
Mm.
into each other. I love that. I know you're human. We've all got our good days and bad days, but you really do present as a unit. And that is such a beautiful thing to witness as well. So talk about your journey.
Do you want me to share?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll share briefly, meaning I'll share the journey, which is miraculous. So after I was at University of Arizona, I was taking another class at ASU, and the girl I was sitting next to at the time was Marla's best friend and fixed us up on our only blind date ever. And this was before social media or, Facebook, or it was just telephones. So I called Marla on the phone and we're talking a couple times. And first she said to her friend, well, if he's so cute and so nice, why don't you go out with him? And
Mhm.
time Marla, or she had a boyfriend. So we're talking. We set up a time for our first date, which was on a Tuesday night because if I was a dud, she didn't want to give up her Friday or Saturday night, just so you
You
know.
sound awful.
No, she was,
There's like there's like a rap song about like I'm like you're not your Tuesday girl or something.
Right.
I'll
right,
have to
right.
come up with this.
And
It
so,
was named for this situation, that song.
so I show up at her door with a rose and I had 2 dozen roses behind my back. So that's how our evening started. And then we saw, believe it or not, which is interesting. We went to a movie, New You're No Angels with Robert De Niro and Sean Penn. It was wonderful. And then across the street in Tempe, we went to Coffee Plantation for coffee and dessert. And we talked for 4 hours. And it was like time stood still. It was just, you knew. And you want to add a little because then I want to take that conversation.
Oh,
when we were talking.
you're doing great. He talked a lot about his family, his grandparents. He was very close with them. And I had never met anyone up until that point who cared so much about family. And that said a lot about who he was, to his character. And it just from there progressed. And we got married a year and 3 days later.
Yeah.
Wow.
Literally, it was, you just know. So unofficially engaged in 3 months, ring on her finger in 6 months. And as Marla said, married a year and 3 days after. And this December 22nd, we'll be married 34 years. And
Okay.
it's been a journey. So it's been incredible. And
Yeah.
we've been blessed with four beautiful children. But you had mentioned something, how this sort of miraculous journey unfolded. So you had mentioned jewelry, and Marla and I have been designing jewelry around the world for over almost 35 years.
Those posts make me salivate. And I always say, like, I love this ring. I love that. If I had a gajillion dollars and I'm manifesting that, I don't even know where I'd start having you design me something. There's so many beautiful creations you all make. I mean,
Thank you.
what, that's hands down, but I interrupted you. You go right
Oh,
ahead.
You know what? Seriously, to your point,
Mhm.
there's something so satisfying and so beautiful about having the ability to make people's dreams come true, making them come to reality. Because even if you can't get it down and draw it, we can,
right.
you know, and we can make it happen. We just do as a team, meaning with you. We work together. It's really incredible when we can make people's dreams.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always inspired. We're inspired. So when I'm sitting, let's say with you, I see it in my mind, whether it's a ring or a pendant or a necklace or a bracelet, it's like comes through me and I start to sketch it out. And then we do everything in house. So as we say, everything's always created from love and inspiration. And there's nothing ever that's copied or repeated because everything is one of a kind, whether simple or outside the box. And we've created just some incredible family heirlooms and masterpieces around the world. So it's been an honor.
And charitable.
And oh, always that was the first thing we started with was always helping different charities. And there's too many to mention, but that was
Mhm.
literally before we even opened our doors. The first thing we did was to give. And that's the
Mhm.
highest form of charity, right? But not only give to someone to help, but to give them enough so they can help.
Mhm.
So the going back to the intention stick. So this is where I know you know, but this is great for us to share because I get so excited.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you back almost 14 years ago, and it was our 21-year anniversary. And I didn't know what to design for Marla. And in my mind, in my vision, I kept seeing over and over the tree of life. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening. And I designed this beautiful pendant for Marla with the tree of life and all four of our children's names engraved in the back of it in Hebrew with the number 21. And I gave it to Marla and she said it was the most beautiful gift I'd ever given her. Not because of the jewelry aspect, but the spiritual meaning of the tree of life.
Mhm.
And that she got to wear all four of our children close to her heart. And she says to me, that's it. And I'm looking at her like, what? And what did you say?
Oh, I said that's what I'd been waiting for 21 years for, what I had been
Oh,
searching for.
And I didn't
wow.
get that. And she said, yes, we were blessed with four beautiful children, health, a home, a business. But like you and your beautiful husband, Marla and I, our soulmates, two souls come together in this lifetime for a bigger purpose and a divine reason. And the tree of life was it. And when she said that, it was like whoosh, like
Yeah.
the lightning bolt literally hit me. It still makes my hair stand up.
Yeah. I got just it. Yeah.
She,
Yeah.
she and I came up with our mantra, changing the world one tree at a time,
Mhm.
we become one. Because we understand there's no color, the religion, the politics, all the different stuff that we're already a part of a collective whole. We're already one. This world sadly has taught us since the beginning of time to be separate and divisive versus bringing us back to unify. And when she received the pendant, she surprised me with this bracelet, which to
Mhm.
this day, I still say, I don't know how she got this past me. And on the back of the bracelet in Hebrew, it says Beshert.
Yeah.
And Berger means it comes from above. Like this conversation
Meant to be. Yeah.
and me, exactly. So
Yeah.
there's no coincidences. So when she surprised me with the bracelet, I saw that we can do different collections for different causes and charities with a tree on one side and then the logo or branding of the charity or the cause on the other side and bracelets and pendants. And then I'm laughing or we giggle because 8.5, 9 years ago, we designed a collection for the Pope at the Vatican, helping all the refugee children around the world. So here we say a Jewish family creates a collection for the Pope.
Yeah.
It's not about religion. It's
Why
about
not?
being kind.
Exactly.
It's all about humankind. It's remove ego, remove programming. It's about helping humanity. Then the royal family at Windsor Castle in London heard what Marla and I did for the Pope and invited us with 23 visionaries and world leaders on shifting consciousness and unifying and helping heal and repair the world. And we actually stayed and slept at the castle for 4 days, which was life changing and miraculous. And I think you already know that story alone will need a sleepover, but
Yeah.
I'll make it brief. So we're at Windsor Castle. Our meetings are in Vickers Hall, where Shakespeare performed the first play for Queen Elizabeth I. This is where our meetings are being held, by the way.
It's
And
crazy.
it was the energy, well, just everything was off the charts. And we're in round circle. Like Mandela always said, sit in a circle that we're all at the same level. We're all the same. And we're discussing how to heal and repair the world. This is the first day, by the way. And everyone's talking about the tree of life, but they didn't know it. And I'm bouncing around like, we know what to do. We just launched a collection for the Pope. And what did you say to me? She told me, settle down,
Right.
just child, like breathe. Like basically, she told me to listen or nicely shut up.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
Not he is not painting me in this good
she is
light.
by the
No,
way,
no, no. I'm
was
cracking up because I just wait. So what's your birthday, Scott? What are you, zodiac
I
wise?
was September 26th. I
And
actually
how about you, Marla?
Batch.
A Sag. Okay. I'm a Gemini. So it's like I'm connecting on the like, I have to scream it out. I can't sit still. It's like you have to know my idea and you
yeah,
have to know it right now.
by,
That is fun.
by the
Yeah.
way,
My Libra, my rising. Yeah.
I love it.
So
By the way,
yeah.
she makes me the best version of who I am.
Yeah.
So it's nothing I could ever say that's not positive. It's only the best.
Yeah.
So basically, she's telling me to, let everybody speak and you can share at the end. And you can already tell I'm shy. So I'm sitting on my hands for like 3 days, pouting a little bit, but I'm chiming in a little bit about the tree of life and not sharing anything. And this is where it starts to get wow. So the third night, the night before last, we had a private tour of St. George's Cathedral. It's where all the kings and queens are married and buried. And the architecture, the history was just out of the movies. It was unbelievable. And our tour guide, who wasn't with us in any of our meetings, third generation assistant to the queen is giving us our tour, by the way,
Mhm.
said to our group, I'm going to take you to the side where we do not take the public. And she brought us to these beautiful double red doors with gold imagery embossed on each door, built in the mid 1500s. It was the Queen's private entrance from the castle to the cathedral. What do you think the imagery on the doors were?
I already know.
The
Yes.
life on both
Yeah.
doors. So we're like, okay, we get the message. And everybody's hair in that whole group was standing up when she said tree of life. Again, no coincidences. We leave the cathedral. We go back to the oldest home on the castle grounds. And what time do we walk in? 11:11, of course, our
Mhm.
numbers for those that know, and having this beautiful reception. And the gentleman who invited us to the castle, older conservative Englishman, very sweet. We didn't really know too much about him other than he invited us, came up to Marl and I and said, I'd love to take you both aside and share something with you. And we're like, sure, what's up? And he starts telling us, I saw you both arrive on Sunday and get out of your secured car, and you were surrounded by this beautiful bubble of white light.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to say that, we would say namaste, right? I
Hmm.
see, but it was out of context. And Marla and I always say, one, we're not judged. who are we to ever look at someone and say, you don't look spiritual enough or you don't look religious enough? Really, you can see my heart and soul and tell me who I am because of how we're dressed, right? I'm scruffy or I'm wearing. So it was just out of context. So we said, thank you. Then he shared with us, last night I had a vision of your tree, and
Mm,
your tree encompassed the entire world. And underneath your tree, I saw hundreds of thousands of these beautiful white tents representing every person, every cause, every religion, everyone. And he said to us, this is not a tree of life foundation you started. It's a tree of life movement. It's much bigger than you possibly could have ever dreamt or imagined. And Marl and I are looking at each other like, holy shift.
right. Yeah. I love
Because
that.
we
That's a
knew
chapter in your book.
that's, and because we knew we were doing something right. And when you follow your heart and your soul, you know it's never wrong, but not of that magnitude. And I don't think we even slept that night because of what he had just shared. And the next day, the fourth day, we're still back in round circle and everyone's talking about how to heal and repair the world. He said to Marla, I think Marla has something to share with the group. And what did you say?
Oh, I said, I better let Scott speak. I've been asking him the whole time. I wouldn't care. So I gave him the floor.
Right. She's like, okay, if you don't let Scott speak, his head's going to explode.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Pretty much. Yeah.
I actually said thank you. And I started sharing with the whole group what we just did the month for the Pope about the sustainability, about unifying. It's not about religion, it's about humankind. I start telling the group about Tree of Life, which most people may or may not know. The Tree of Life, of course, we know it's in the Bible, the Torah, every spiritual and religious book, but the Tree of Life, from what we understand, is the blueprint of our soul. It's the evolution of consciousness, or I share, or we share. It's the expansion of our souls. It's not being better than anyone else in this world. It's being better than we were yesterday. We're here to grow until the last breath we take, until we transition. I start sharing with everyone, which I know you know very well, laws of attraction.
Mhm.
What we think about, we bring about. What goes up comes down. But what we put out from our hearts comes back in, which is what Marla shared with me years ago. It's third law of physics, law of motion. It's actually science. So if we're
Mhm.
putting out kindness and love and gratitude and happiness and light, only more comes back in. But it's also true if you're putting out worry and stress and anxiety and fear and sadness, only more comes back in. So I said to the group at the time, which leads me to this.
Mhm.
So that was probably the shorter version I've shared to time relevant. So
I I
I,
just,
and I
I
won't
just want to
go,
say, yeah, there's never been a conversation that's lasted less than, I don't know, 185 minutes. And I love that. And yeah, I want to just pause 1 second because you and I, the two of you and I connect on this. We just, start talking mid sentence, right? So, what we're about to discuss for the listeners out there is why Scott and Marla are here, among other reasons. I'm wearing something called an intention stick necklace, and this is their baby. This is their brand, besides everything else they do. And I'd like you to talk about the book. The story you just shared actually is in your book. And I'd like you to say the title of your book in your words, because I'm not sure I'm saying it right. So, what is the title of your book?
well, so the title of our book is
Mm.
I Am Here. Why?
Okay, because I say I am here. Why? Right.
Right.
And that's a whole other podcast, like just how you say the word why. And I'm so glad you said that because this whole time it sits in my study here with me. Like, I'm here. Why? And I was like, I want to know how they say it. Yeah.
I'm so glad you asked that, by the way. And if those who go onto our website, when you open up our website,
Mhm.
treeoflifemovement.com, the first thing you see is, why am I here? Which we've all asked that our whole lives. I know Marla and I finding out why am I here? And I don't want to be the spoiler because maybe we'll end with that because it's very powerful. So if we may, we'll come back to that because
Of course. Of course.
Because I don't know if we even shared that with you, by the way.
I don't know. We've shared so many things.
Right.
And yeah, we'll definitely come back to the book.
I love
And
that.
so to hop back onto the train, first of all, the minute I met you guys, I was like, I'm on your train. Wherever the train's going, I am full on. I've bought my ticket. I don't care if I'm in the caboose, the engine, the dining car. I just want to go wherever you go. And you've called me enthusiastically. You really do share your life. And it's a big life. You were just with Ringo Starr, for God's sake. So it's like when I get a call from you, like, wait, they have time for me and Ringo Starr. I'm so excited because it's all about the oneness, this intention necklace. So it's wrapped with the tree of life. And please tell the story of the words that come with it. It's packaged in a certain way. And, and then I want to tell my story of when I received mine. But I'd like you to talk about the manufacturing of it, the design of it, because I know it wasn't just like, we're just going to throw this together. It is mindful, it is important, it's impactful, and it's really magical.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Thank you. Because you're making every
you-
hair on our bodies stand up to elevation.
Keep giving us goosebumps.
And so,
I have to.
one, again, thank you for just your beautiful heart and your words. And thank you for allowing us to share the backstory. And yes, Marla chimes in when she should because
I
it's
know.
easier that way.
Yes.
You,
But
you, if this is not going to be on YouTube right away, but I just want you to know, Marla, you remind me of my dear sister-in-law, who is a wise, fierce, kick-ass woman, just like you are. And Scott can run circles around you with his words, but your steadfast demeanor and your center is so powerful. You don't have to say a word,
yeah,
and it just comes through. But I do like it when you talk. So,
Thank you.
and
So,
yeah.
you're so spot on, by the way. So,
Yeah.
and so I'll take you now back about 8.5 years ago. So, I'm up very early and I do morning meditation, energy work, prayers, whatever that may be. And I end in a long meditation. And that morning in my mind, I saw a tube. And I'm like, okay, it's a tube. It wasn't a beautiful pendant or necklace or ring. And I sort of dismissed it. I threw it away, like, again, the message. And I always laugh at, if anyone has seen this years ago, the movie with Jim Carrey, Bruce Almighty. There's
Mhm.
this very funny scene that he's driving in this horrific rainstorm and he's really mad at God. He's like, show me one sign, one sign. He's really pissed. And that there was a huge truck in front of him with all the signs: slow down, danger, warning, caution, stop, like literally smacking him in the face, trying to tell him to stop, but he's not paying attention. And in the movie, drives over the side of the bridge, he dies, and then the whole comedy of the movie starts. So that tube, I threw it away. Show me one sign. A month later, I'm in my morning meditation and I saw in my mind our tree being wrapped around the tube. And I'm like, okay, something's going on. And I come running out from our library and I said to Marla, I just saw our tree being wrapped around the tube. And when I said that, literally, we started seeing and receiving the same words to be placed inside the tube, which there were 22 words, intentions, which is 1111, to be placed inside. And again, it all has to do with numerology and gematria. And there's so much spiritual Kabbalah and things like that. We didn't know any of this.
Mhm.
And the 22 words, the 22 intentions, which I can read for you if you would like,
Yeah.
are, as I said earlier at the beginning of the conversation, that we're placing inside, that this is about speaking your truth. This is about being your authentic self. And this is about asking for what you or I or anyone in this world needs today to make us the best version of who we are, because we cannot give what we do not have. And knowing most of the beautiful people that will watch us and in the world, we're always helping and helping others, but we forget to self care and self nurture and self love and even forgive ourselves for being so hard on who we are. And if we can just learn to get out of our own way, watch the miracles unfold.
Yeah.
And whether someone says God, universe, source, creator, Allah, Buddha, Yahweh, spirit, whatever that is to anyone in this world, even our atheist friends believe in something.
Mhm.
I say God, so does Marla, and we share God hears what you mean, not what you say.
Mm.
If you ask anyone in this world right now, how are you? Pretty much everyone's going to say, I'm fine, I'm good. And we're going to laugh and giggle, not at the person, but
Right.
we're going to say, if you have the miracle cure to I'm fine or I'm good, we want it. Because one, we're all going through something. And as hard as this may be to hear, everything in our lives, as you know, has happened for us. Everything
Mhm.
has a gift and a lesson
Right.
that brought us to the next place in our lives. It makes us who we are. So we have to say thank you to, because those gifts and lessons are ours to share with those that are going through it right now, that do not know how to embrace the trauma, the pain, the sickness, the disease, the loss of life, that whatever bullied me, that broke my heart, they screwed me in a business, whatever it is, they're ours to share with those that don't know how to get past that and move forward with it. So
Right.
th- these intentions, which is also very interesting that Marla shared that I didn't know because we didn't study Kabbalah at the time. It's not 22 words or 22 intentions. Each word, each intention has 72 different interpretations,
Mhm.
which that's why I'm saying, you know, you can never choose a wrong intention because it all comes under the umbrella of love. So I can read these beautiful words and as you know, and your beautiful listeners or anyone that's going to hear this or see this are going to feel them.
Mhm.
Again, it's not what we're asking for that we already have, or it's not what it's expected of us or perceived, but it's about truly looking within.
Mhm.
And sometimes when we look in, it may not be the answer we want to find.
So I'd like everybody just to take a pause for a moment because I'd like to offer to the listeners, maybe if they want to go grab a pad of paper and a pen, that they write these words down as you say them. And now I'm thinking about Passover. I just had this conversation with the plagues. Are you knife people or pinky people?
Thank you.
Pinky people.
Excellent. Yeah. So there's knife people and there's pinky people. There's like cooks and bakers. It's just a thing. But I invite the listeners to go grab a piece of paper or put a pause on this and come back because as Scott or Marla, maybe you can read 11 each because I love the sound of your voice too, Marla, and not there's anything wrong with your Scott because I feel like when we write these words down, and then I want you all out there to make two columns, a little check and a little X. And I want you all for yourselves to put a check mark in the words that just feel so good to say or hear, and put a little X in the words that give you any sort of pause or cringe. And it's not a test, it's just a thing. And we'll come back to it later. But I think that would be really powerful for people to experience for themselves, hearing these words and seeing how they feel about them today in this moment. Or when they listen to this podcast again, they can do the exercise again. And so just take a little moment, take a deep breath in, and just let anything go in the way of receiving these words as they're meant to be received and go for it.
Mm. And I love that you said to read them together. So we'll start. Believe,
Faith,
gratitude,
mind,
be, let it be,
Love.
light,
Less.
peace,
Kindness.
compassion,
Success.
knowledge,
Trust.
spiritual,
Happiness.
courage,
Laugh and joy.
inspire.
Consciousness.
And we always share the two most important, even though these are all important, health and oneness. And going back about almost 9 years ago, Marla had this powerful vision that the intention stick was coming from pure love and pure intention, that it would sweep the world like a beautiful tsunami, that everyone eventually would have an intention stick. The words would be in every language and in Braille, and that we would all insert the word oneness together.
Mhm.
Because I believe most of us understand we don't need to die or transition to go to heaven. It's all around us. It's within us all if we just choose to see that. It
Right.
may be covered up with all the programming or the fear or the negativity. And this is why we always share if someone's lashing out at us or anyone in this world, we never know what that person's going through because they may say, I'm Wonder Woman and I'm Superman, and you saw my posts and selfies, but they may be crying and dying on the inside. And we're showing up into those person's lives for a divine moment to be there for them, whether just to listen, to ask, how are you? A hug, a smile, whatever that may be, could change and save their lives.
Mhm.
So these beautiful intentions, and I'll just step back a hair. The intention stick is, I know you know, is not about a piece of jewelry. We actually say it's worn on the inside for your heart and soul,
Mhm.
that mirror image of our own vessel. And we come into this world as a broken vessel, and we're here to repair it. Again, to fill ourselves back up, to make us, as I said earlier, the best version of who we are. And I know we've all heard the analogy when we're flying on an airplane. What does it say when an oxygen mask drops?
Right. Yours
Take care of
first.
yourself first, then help others.
Mhm.
And right now, everyone needs to take care of themselves first so they can continue to help others. And it's, as Marla shares, each one of these has its own heartbeat. It
Mhm.
becomes a part of you. And as you had mentioned, our book, the, the stories in our book, we can't even keep up with in a great way the tens of thousands of stories taking place every day. And they're
Right.
all miraculous. It's actually one of Einstein's quotes. We can look at the world in two ways: one, that nothing's a miracle, or two, everything's a miracle.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want
Yeah.
to add.
Well, I was just going to say this is all about living a life of intention
Mhm.
and the importance of that, that most of us get up or we've learned or been programmed to have our breakfast, go to school, go to work, come home, and then we do the same thing the next day, every day, and we don't know why. So intention is what helps give us purpose.
Mhm.
And if you're not living with it, it's as if you're getting into your car driving without a destination. How do you know where
Mm.
you're going? And how do you know what you want to get there?
Right. Yes.
Intention gives us that purpose. It gives us a destination.
I love that. I want to connect it to the yoga side of my life. Also, when we come to our mat, we often set an intention. And, students of all walks of life, whether they've been practicing a gajillion years or not, sometimes we struggle with what is an intention. And so I just offer to my students an intention can be a mantra if you're used to using a mantra. It can be a hope, a wish, a prayer, a dream for yourself, or to dedicate your practice just this day or this moment to someone or something else in need of it, right? Because we are the pebble that drops in the water and we send the ripples out. And so when we wear the intention stick, it is like a daily yoga practice, is how I connect it also, because it's not just we're purposefully setting an intention in the moment when we're practicing, but we're actually embodying and wearing it every minute of the day that we have this with us.
Yes.
And so just share. So my friend Pam is how I met you guys. And so the listeners by now know that Pam is part of my pickle crew and they have yet to be on the show. They're next because they also are a catalyst for this complete idea. And so we were in Arizona and it was the cutest thing. Pam, and she's a fellow Gemini too. And it's hard for us to contain ourselves. But she was like, oh, I want you to meet Scott and we're going to go to his jewelry store. So I was with my crew. And then she kept saying, oh, well, he's running late. And she was kind of disappointed. I'm not sure he's going to be able to meet us or we can't get to the jewelry store. We were on our way to the airport to leave for the weekend, from the weekend. And we were sitting outside at this restaurant. And she's like, yeah, I just don't think we're going to get to meet Scott. I'm so disappointed. You're just going to have to meet him next year when you come. And, she wears the intention necklace and she tells us about it. And, and then all of a sudden you walk down the sidewalk And her surprise was not only did, come to meet us, but she gifted us the intention necklaces. And so you had talked to us about what they are for and why we wear them. And then the pieces of paper that we slide inside, you had suggested, it's three, no more four. It can get a little heavy. And in my memory, the explanation, and this is what I say to people when I wear mine, it's an intention that you either already possess, right? You're already doing it, and or you want to put it out in the world, and or it's something you're working on for yourself. So you're not quite there yet, but it's a reminder that you're working on it, right? And so you gave us this whole amazing meditation. I remember we were holding hands and you went around to each of us. And I get teary eyed when I talk about it. I get the chills. You went around to each of us and you're like, okay, I want you to choose the words for yourself. And then I'm going to give you a word. Okay. And I don't know if you remember what you gave to me. Do you remember?
If I'm remembering correctly, and this is years ago already,
It's
I
like,
think
yeah,
it was inspire.
it was
Uh,
Inspire. And I wanted to share with you, I struggled with that for so long and I kept it in. I've changed other words. I kept Inspire because just like I asked the listeners to do, I didn't wear it well. And my initial reaction to receiving the word inspire was, me? Am I inspiring? Do I inspire? And then this whole other ego side of my brain, said from my upbringing, well, you can't, be boastful. Like, who are you to say out loud, you're so inspiring? So I had this whole dialogue in my head for about a year. And the two words I have in my necklace, and I haven't changed them in a long time, are inspire, oneness. And
Beautiful.
that's my mantra because that's what I want to do in the world. That's what I hope that I'm doing within myself. And it is about inspiring oneness. You do it how you guys do it. I do it through how I teach and the work with clients. And if we could all just inspire oneness, that's what we're after.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
think of the word yoga means union,
A
right?
connection. Absolutely.
And the oneness is being not only one with yourself,
Hmm.
one with the world of all of ourselves, because we're already a part of the collective whole, but one with the universe and the whole verse. And that is what our vision is. It is our purpose to truly bring this beautiful world back together as one, to remove
Yeah.
all divisiveness, all of the negative, right? To truly see heaven on earth, which it is here, which how we choose to see three it's how we choose to see things through our own lenses. You can
Mhm.
see negative or you can see positive. And the only choice, as we always say, is only to see the positive because the negative will suck the light and love out of you.
Right.
Inspire was not only for you to be inspired, but yes, to inspire others, but to also be in spirit.
Mhm.
And that's what I saw in you when we were doing our blessings, prayer, the meditation, when
Yeah.
we held hands. And I'm grateful to see that, as I say, I chose wise.
And not only that, but just it was such a powerful moment. We were holding hands, we had put our words, and you went around and really identified for each of us really our special words. And I keep coming back while we're having this conversation. I just need to interject here and I'll go back to my statement. When you were describing that you just had to sit on your hands because you couldn't, you just wanted to scream from the rafters. It's the tree of life. I know exactly what you need, Queen at the castle. There's this book I used to read to my kids, and it's called Lola and Her Special Words. And it's this little, I think she's like a rat, but it's this. Do you know the book I'm talking about? And her cheeks puff up because she just can't say her special words to the kid who doesn't, the skateboard king. I think it was like Rodney, the skateboard king. And she waits her whole day to say these special words. And she gets home and she's like, I love you, mommy and daddy. I love you so much. And it was like, that's what she was trying to hold inside was just love. And she couldn't wait to get it out. And I'm telling you, like, that's what I feel with this. And you gave us our special words. We held hands. And the moment you placed this necklace on me, it was like a divining rod of light and warmth and chills. And and we all kind of looked at each other like, are you all feeling what I'm feeling? And we were all feeling it. And and it's just a profound, and I know when people purchase them from you, I know that you bless each item going out from your
Oh,
place, but you also offer sometimes a meditation from the two of you or each of you, depending on how busy you are, comes with it sometimes. And anybody out there, it's so worth your time just to be in your presence. The necklace alone and the blessing that you provide comes through when you open up the package. And so I don't know if you want to talk about a little bit, how people sort of can get some of your time and energy when they purchase a stick. Does it come with it? Or is there like another button that you click, like buy the necklace and in a meditation from Scott and Marla? Like, how does it work when they go to your website?
well, one, thank you for, again, always sharing. And I actually, it's funny, I want to go back just one step before I share about the
Yeah.
intention. And you were talking about choosing your intentions, and you were absolutely, I love the three different examples you gave. And I'll share with the listeners and you as well that Marla and I always say, for example, the word peace, and it has to do about when we're choosing our intentions. So I always share that, and of course, Marla, this is about what you're asking for, not what you already have. Because if you're going to choose the word great or gratitude and you're grateful for everything in your life, you don't need to choose gratitudes for. So, for example, the word peace. If we don't have peace within ourselves, how can we have peace in our family, our community, our country, or this world? If we don't truly love ourselves, which is, by the way, the most difficult intention to achieve in our lifetime, which is love, or actually unconditional love for self, not from ego and vanity, but if we don't truly love who we are first, how can we truly love another? Our children are getting ready for an exam or a sporting event. They'll choose success, courage, or knowledge, or trust, So it's, again, what you're asking for. God forbid someone's sick, whether physically or mentally, choose health. So again, it's never a wrong intention that you can choose, but it's really about asking for what you want to see in your life. As you shared, it's about manifesting. And when you achieve health or success or gratitude or peace or light or love or whatever that intention is for you, then yes, take it out, put in something that you're actually asking for today. Marlon and I have had friends that have not changed their intentions in 8 years. Like you
Yeah.
said, keep, inspire in oneness. One Marla and I always keep in ours is trust.
Mm.
If we don't trust the journey, nothing else matters. Everything's being orchestrated, and
Hmm.
it's
So you can change your intentions
Yeah.
yeah, daily.
weekly,
Yeah.
as Scott said, or you some keep them in for years because they're still trying to reach that
Or they live by
intention
that.
or live by that.
Hmm.
So I just wanted
Right.
to add to that
Yeah,
because
I'm glad you said that because I didn't want people to think like, it's one and done. It is a fluid, just like we are human. And how we design our day, you can get up and meditate or just get up and go to work and have your coffee and decide what you'd like to put into your intention stick that day. And I think I shared this story with you too. I talk about trust. I struggled with trying to find the right pendulum, because I'm like, do I use a rose quartz? Do I use an amethyst? Am I supposed to use, rainbow fluorite? What's the right pendulum? And do I even need to use a pendulum? And I think I was sharing this story with you. I was meditating and I was like, what stone should I use? And blah, blah. And clear as a bell. Dumbass, you're wearing it. That's how
uh,
my spirit talks to me in words I can understand. And I'm like,
that's great.
oh, it's my intention necklace. And I use it as my pendulum when I'm
Okay.
working on with Reiki, with chakras, with my own yes, no questions. It's just such a great tool. It's got multiple uses.
it does. We do every day ourselves to test the energy. It's actually Dr. Hawkins, right? His theory of energy testing, and they
It's
use
a
it.
kinesiology.
Mhm.
Believable. I was sharing briefly a story the other day with two girls, and they're looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, what are you talking about? You can use your intention stick as a pendulum. And I said, well, you see that piece of chocolate in your jar? I said, you can ask your intention stick yes or no questions. And I held it over the piece of chocolate and it didn't move. That's my no. And then I had actually some supplements and vitamins with me. And I said, should I be taking these supplements? And it started spinning around,
Mm.
and sometimes it spins around like a helicopter. It gets
Right.
very powerful. So it's,
You can
again,
also use it on your body for
Mhm.
energy,
yeah,
move the energy in your
I
body.
do that all the time.
If you're not feeling well, if you have a certain place on your body that you want to work on, or even
Mhm.
if you're not in a good mental space, it really helps uh,
Shift that energy.
shift the energy, bring it down, calm you down.
So
Yeah.
back to your question, squirrel. No, I have ADOS, which is
Yeah.
attention deficit of squirrel. To the website, to the treeoflifemovement.com or treeoflifemovement.org. So there's a couple. It actually redirects you into intentionstick.org. So
Yeah.
treeoflifemovement.com redirects you. And yes, there's different versions of the Tree of Life intention stick, but we wanted to make it affordable so everyone could achieve it. So in the pure medical grade stainless steel, it's $72. And if someone wants a private session, yes, they can ask for that. But if they want to just briefly call, we don't charge to do a blessing over the phone. So if they order it online, they always put their name or for who it is for. And we, as Marla and you already know, we always hold the intention stick, do a blessing with that person's name and ship it around the world. Or when we're literally speaking in front of a ballroom of 1,300 people, this was powerful. We had the entire room stand up, hold hands, and did the same blessings as you know. And the person literally standing next to Marla said, can you pinch me? Am I
Oh, yeah.
dreaming? What did he say?
Yes. Yeah. He said,
It
am I
was
dreaming?
that why I share that in that moment, 1,300 people became one.
Mhm.
Whether it's one of us, whether I'm doing these beautiful Marla and I blessings across the world on Zoom, it's being felt at that moment. Again, the laws of attraction, because what goes up comes out immediately. So
Right.
we've done just some beautiful and powerful sessions. So yes, people can message us and we could do whether they want to do 30-minute session, an hour session, and so forth. And it's our pleasure. But for someone to call to do the blessings, there's never a charge. Uh, it's with love, and that's why we're here. It's not about us. It's about
Right.
us.
I wanted to add that everything with regards to the packaging, to the
Mm.
intention stick, is all intentional.
Do I share the story of the woman who called you and did that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt my beautiful wife. So, as you know, we ship them around the world, and we happened to ship one to the East Coast, and we got an email from a woman, and she was a little upset. She says, "Thank you. I received my intention stick, but when she opened it up, the chain was a little jumbled and not perfect, and it bothered her. And I was going to email her back to explain, but something said, no, you need to call her." So, what Marla was about to share, I called the woman and I said, "I'm so glad you received your intention stick, but I have to share something with you. And I'm sorry your chain was a little bit mixed up or jumbled. But I said, there's this beautiful organization here in Phoenix called Gompers. And it's adults with autism and Down syndrome and cerebral palsy that we pay them, we hire them, we give them a job and a purpose. They do all of the packaging. So
Oh, I
every,
didn't know that.
oh my goodness. So every
Oh,
one of these are sealed with love.
wow.
And you literally heard her gasp. And she said, I'll take 6 more.
Yeah.
Because what she understood was imperfect. Sorry, it still gets me emotional. Was
Yeah.
absolutely perfect because it was done with such love by these beautiful souls do more for us than we go down with the kids and package with them. It's just pure unconditional love and happiness. And of course we plant a tree for each intention stick to give back to Mother Earth because the trees have been here since creation. They're going to be here long after we're gone, and plus
Right.
alive and communicate and help heal, just as all of our souls are connected to help. So as Marla said, everything is with intention. Our son designed the box to open up like a lotus flower. So everything is intentional.
I want to come back to the idea because you used a word with me in one of our conversations, and I don't know if it's a Hebrew word or a Kabbalah word, about the intention that we plant the seeds now for the trees we will not see.
Ah,
And that's what we're doing. Right. And so what is that word? Is it one word? Is it a
oh, it's
phrase?
actually a phrase. And actually, Marla shared this with me years ago. Did you want to share, or do you want me to share?
The
It's an
word,
ancient Greek proverb, actually.
go ahead.
What Marla shared with me is it says, a society grows great when old men plant trees in which they know the shade they will never sit in.
That's right. It's so beautiful, Marla. And that's true, right? We are doing this work right now. And please, God, the work we do, well, please, Spirit, whatever. The intention is to lay the foundation and plant the seeds and germinate what will grow far beyond what we even know we're capable of doing. And you had started talking about, I think you started to talk about like the 3D versus 5D. And that's a big thing right now. We're all ascending and we're supposed to be, awakening and all this. And I kept wondering for a while, 3D versus 5D. Do you buy a ticket? Am I going to wake up one day and I'm just going to be on this new planet? And you said it earlier. We are here now. It is heaven on earth now. And all we need to do is just buy that ticket for the train to wake up one day with new and fresh eyes. That is our new reality, that we can either choose to live in the heavy or choose to live in the light and lift others up. And I envision myself often where I'm like sort of in this kind of like a tree house, let's say, and I've got this ladder. I'm like, come on out, come on, I got you. Like, just keep climbing, just keep climbing. And it's not like we're going anywhere. Maybe we will, but sometimes I see a spaceship and we're off on another planet, but we're here now. And we have a responsibility to make this now the best now that we can make it, knowing that even though we live and walk the talk and we're still human, we have our moments, there are going to be people that are not going to be wanting to climb that ladder or get on that train. And that's okay. That's their job, is to show that side of reality, just like it is our job and our dharma and our calling to show this side of reality. Doesn't mean one is worse or better than the other. It's just an isness. It's just two sides to the same human coin, right? I think when we negate and use, oh, they're so stuck in the 3D in a negative way, that doesn't do any beneficial work for the planet either. And so even when we talk about everybody doing their thing, from the, you know, little ant to the Pope, and we talk about oneness and connection, we all have a job, we all have a purpose. And what you guys also touch on without necessarily knowing it is our soul's purpose. And this intention necklace gives each soul a purpose. And so I want to hop off that statement and discuss briefly the purpose that you guys are committed to. Not only do you make beautiful creations out of metal, right, of all kinds of metal, gold, rose gold, stainless steel, white gold, but your mission is to gift to every child on the planet one of these. And because not every child lives in safety, I'd like you to talk about how you manufacture necklaces that those children can receive in safety.
Perfect way to really bring full circle. I love this. And going back to the ancient Greek proverb, the metaphor of planting the tree, because if we think about it, if we plant an oak tree today, it's going to take about 80 years for it to be fully grown. Most likely, physically, we're not going to be here. And the metaphor is that it's about the children, the grandchildren, the great grandchildren growing up living a life of intention to eradicate all the negativity, the divisiveness. And as you just mentioned, it is about these children right now.
We're going to come back in a moment because now it's time for Joy on the Fives. It is time for Joy on the Fives.
I love it.
And in this moment, what is bringing you joy? I'm going to start with Marla.
This conversation is
Okay.
using being in the now, being in the present, and just, if we can help one soul, that brings me joy.
And you, Scott?
Doing this divine work, just using the gifts that we've been given for humanity to just travel around the world performing blessings and prayers and ceremonies to make everyone understand that they're loved and that we're all the same and that we should all see that sameness, that oneness in everyone and to again, that's the joy, the bliss, the happiness that we all need to be in that state of.
Yeah.
And
So I asked that. I have a segment in my show, everybody knows by now, called Joy on the Fives, because it's my intention that imagine a world where we get our news and our weather and our traffic at 5 minutes to every hour, right? Whether you're listening to the radio, you're driving in the car, you're watching TV, they always break in at, you're watching the Today Show and it's time for the weather and the traffic. And imagine a world where Al Roca would say, and now it's time to think about what's bringing you joy. And that's the world I want to imagine. And so I pause in my show and I ask my guests, what is bringing you joy in the moment? And a lot of times it's this conversation, but it's other things to share. So thank you for pausing for that. And we'll go back to our regularly scheduled program to discuss your
I
mission
actually
for
want to
children.
ask what you're doing there
yeah,
because
awesome.
if it also, every doctor would ask that question
Yeah.
to their
Yeah.
patient. Imagine how different that would look like.
Yeah.
And then,
And it's just anybody can find joy, right? And I say, even if it's fake it till you make it, or I use like your left eyeball, whatever it is, if you can stop several times through your day, once an hour, whatever, and really feel what might be bringing you joy, just joy brings joy.
Yeah.
absolutely.
We call that checking in.
Yeah.
Checking in with ourselves. And sometimes we have to check in every hour, like you said. Sometimes it be for somebody a couple times a day. It just depends. But
Yeah.
for sure, just check in with yourself and bring that joy. Like it's beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's,
All right. So back to what we were discussing.
so which besides, of course, reaching everyone on this planet, it's our purpose, it's our legacy, as you briefly mentioned about helping the children, and it is about reaching every child on this planet. And I'll let Marla chime in because again, I'm the talker, but it also goes back about 4 years ago, and right before COVID. This is also a time where everyone started asking, how can we help? What can we do? How can we continue to gift intention sticks? And so about 4 years ago, she wakes me up at 2 in the morning and she says to me, I had this powerful vision, this dream of this little girl in Africa sleeping on the ground, moving from place to place. We need to find her and gift her an intention stick. And I know she was serious because her visions are powerful. And she even said to me, I know it's not practical to jump on a plane, fly to Africa and find this little girl. But I said to her, it's also 2 in the morning. We talk in a few more hours where we actually wake up. We're all woken up to those messages if we pay attention.
Oh, I mean, I've been getting up like at 4 o'clock in the morning the last few days, and I'm asking Spirit, okay, I'm listening.
Well, it's also one of Marla's favorite quotes by Rumi, which is,
Oh my goodness. I haven't thought about that. Wow. The quote by Rumi is when you're woken up, I don't remember the entire quote. Do not go back to sleep. Do not go back to sleep. You're woken up at those times. There's a reason that shows up for you. And
Yeah.
yeah, Rumi already expressed there's a reason that you're being woken up at that time, right?
yeah,
Yes, I love
Actually,
Ruby also.
good time to actually always have like a notebook or a pen by on your
absolutely.
nightstand for that reason.
I
So,
do. I do.
so that morning takes place, and actually, we had a friend coming over who was a teacher and a healer, and she was picking up a bunch of intention sticks. She was actually leaving for Dubai, and she was going to gift her students and her family members intention sticks. And Marla shares the vision of the little girl in Africa, and she says to us, "You'll never guess. From Dubai, I'm going to Kenya to visit an orphanage." And we're like, "But of course you are, right?" And so again, the universe is always working. So we said, here's an intention stick. We did a blessing. We said to her, we know you're going to find this little girl. She leaves, comes back 6 weeks later. She told us Dubai was amazing, gifted her students and family members intention sticks. She leaves for Kenya. She meets the main woman at the orphanage. She gifted the main woman an intention stick. The woman shares with our friend they had just purchased 50 new mattresses and pillows. She left on business for a few days, came back, they were all stolen. The first thing our friend did was reach in her purse to say, here's some money, get some new things. No, 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 you can't give me money. It's not going to be used for pillows or it's not going to go to the children. So she then says, well, I have an intention stick. I need to find this little girl I promised Scott and Marla. And she's like, no, you cannot gift a little girl an intention stick. It's shiny. It's going to put all eyes on her. It's going to get stolen or she could be in harm's way. And our friend was a little sad because she's trying to help. And she finished her meeting with the woman at the orphanage and she's outside the orphanage. And across the street, she sees a whole group of little kids and she's feeling the energy from this one little girl. And she walks over and the little girl had to have been 11, 12 years old, starts to tell our friend that both of her parents are gone. And in many of these countries, it doesn't mean the parents were killed.
Well, they're not killed,
Right.
that they die or perish doesn't mean you're orphan. They usually just get up and leave their kids.
Yeah, they literally just pick up and leave, sadly. And this little girl was left to take care of her younger siblings, 11, 12 years old. And our friend said, oh my goodness, this is the girl. Gifts her the intention stick and has this beautiful moment with her, finishes. She's walking down the street, comes up to another group of little kids, same situation. She doesn't have any more intention sticks. She took off hers and gifted it to this little girl.
Mhm.
And that's when Marla said, where's the outrage? And I'll let
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Well, at that moment, I realized, at what point did someone make the decision that giving would end or should end with food, or that giving should end with water or a mattress? I mean, those are essentials. We wouldn't be here if we didn't have those. Those are important. But what's even more important is to self love, self nurture, self care. And if when a child is cut off from consciousness, cut off from the tools that they need to connect, then they're cut off from those things as far as self, like we said, to nurture themselves, to move forward in life, to dream. And it's the same place where you get your inspiration, the same place where we get ours, or Einstein received his theory of relativity, or Mozart received his composition. But when a child is at risk or cut off, then they don't have the tools that they need to overcome or to survive. And they can
Right.
continue to be suppressed. So it is really important that we give them this tool. And there are studies that shows that if just one adult believes in a child, it's the one thing that will keep them alive. That someone believes in them enough to remind them that they're loved, that they matter, that they have purpose in the world.
Yes. Yes. And so you manufacture now intention necklaces made out of silicone, I believe, so that they're not shiny objects, so that the children who are able to wear them are not put in harm's way by receiving them. And when you told me that story, Marla, it really hit me deeply because the work that I do with chakras, the root chakra is where we start. And it's our sense of mattering, it's our sense of safety and security, and so much more. And when you told me that story, you know, of course, it sounds to some people, I can already tell people are going to be emailing me, that's such a fancy problem. How can you say, these kids in poverty don't need food or mattresses? We're not saying that they don't. We're saying they need those things and they need to understand they themselves matter. And just like you said, if one person can tell them, look them in the eye, gift them a necklace, or just have a conversation, they matter. And we don't know the people in the most impoverished, scary circumstances. It takes one moment of a spark to get them out of those circumstances. It might not happen that moment, but they might work harder to figure out a way to make their lives better or to make the lives of the people, like you said, this girl's 11, she's taking care of her siblings. If she feels valued, then she's going to make them feel valued, right? just by her feeling that way. And so I love that you're doing that.
Listen, they've done studies in Haiti where they've given people in poverty money. And you know what the money's done? It's kept them in poverty.
Right.
Yes, we can have the discussion that those things we said, they're essentials. We wouldn't be here without them. We're grateful for them, but we cannot merely walk away from our children once they're given those things. It's why the numbers never change. Hunger doesn't change, homelessness, poverty doesn't change, because when a society believes they are suppressed, then that's where they're going to stay. We don't give them opportunity to connect, to love their soul, their spirit enough to believe in themselves. And you know what? This doesn't limit it to just third world
I was just going
countries.
to add on that. Right.
This has happened in our own backyard.
We're talking about our own backyards, by the way. It's
We-
not India and Africa and China. It's literally here. Do you want to add to the when we were in
Yeah,
California?
so I think to Scott's point is that it can be in anywhere we are in this world. It's also what Mother Teresa used to talk about, which is a soul to soul connection, right? So, yes, we can give them the water, but we can't merely walk away from them once we do that. And
Right.
as the example, this also happened before COVID. We were invited to a gathering in Malibu where a 15-year-old was
17 years old.
17-year-old had the courage to get up and speak and share that he had lost 5 friends to suicide in 1 year.
And this is Malibu, one of the most affluent cities in the United States. So it's our own backyards. It's in Chicago. It's in Arizona. It's not a third world country. And when Marla, by the way, just to add, was sharing this with our friend and how passionate she got about this, I, as you know, saw in my mind the vision of the white silicone tree of life intention stick to represent the soul of every child on this planet. Because if you think of a yogi or a guru or a priest, a rabbi, a nun wearing pure white to receive the light,
Mhm.
so should the intention stick be made in the image of that beautiful child's soul. And as you know, we shared with you prior, at that time, which was miraculous in itself, we applied for a 501c3 and we were fully approved in 3.5 weeks, which you know is unheard of.
Mhm.
Our mission to start is to gift 22 million of the white silicone and tension sticks, not only in our own backyard, meaning the United States, but yes, to other third world countries. But we vowed, even if it is until the last breath we take, that we will reach every child on this planet. Again, no coincidences. Of the 8 billion plus men, women, and children, there are 2.2 billion plus children.
Yeah.
And we will make sure that every child understands that they are loved, that they do matter, that they do have purpose, that no one's better, that there's no one worse, that they can dream because they are limitless. And as you and Marla just said, you and I, or an adult or a teacher, a mentor, religious, spiritual leader, a friend, believing in that child will change and save their lives because it's a responsibility, it's our legacy, and it's why we're here. So full circle to the question you asked about the name of our book.
Exactly.
I am here. Why? The why is I am love. I am peace. I am kindness. I am inspire. I am gratitude. I am health. It is becoming the I am presence that we are supposed to be in that state of, because those were the first words we ever heard being spoken from God to Moses at the burning bush that said, I am that I am. And when
Right.
we look at every one of our brothers and sisters in divinity, to know everyone is godly or universal or whatever that it may be to anyone, we have to understand that, because when we look at someone in the wrong way, then we're taking away from that divinity. Everyone is as
Yeah.
I think to add to what you're saying, there's a word, Ubuntu. Did I share that with you before?
Right. Well, it is part of your, I was going to sort of just say, I don't want to end this conversation at all, but I feel like we're going to hop on soon to your other mission, which encompasses Ubuntu. And I'd like to dedicate a whole other show to that. But if you want to briefly touch on, what that is in terms of definition, or when people go to your website, they'll see that. But that in and of itself, plus more of the conversation we're having about your mission to help children, I believe is really important to dedicate a whole other show to. So I'd love to invite you back on to discuss that because
Okay.
I really want to get to, what Marla, finish what you were saying about Ubuntu.
Well, maybe we can leave it as a
Okay.
clip.
A little teaser.
I love that. And I always say, or Marla says, leave them wanting more.
We'll leave everybody wanting more. And
For
in
sure.
that way, I'd like to not leave people wanting ways to how to find you easily. So please tell the listeners how they can find you. And then I would like to share with the listeners what I'm going to do after you tell them how to find you.
One, thank you, thank you, thank you. There's not enough things we can share with you. You know that. So
Right back at you.
the main website is treeoflifemovement.com, and it will redirect you into intentionstick.org. And you'll see the different intention sticks, as you said, in stainless steel and copper, silver, gold, etc. And what we're going to do with pleasure, which we don't always have the time, but because we're doing this with you and it's going to be our honor, that if they call us, we can do the order over the phone and we will do a blessing in person with them. If they want, we can do a signed copy of our book for them if they call in and that's all charitable. And the foundation is a completely separate, different page, which is treeoflifemovementfoundation.org.
Mhm.
And that's a whole 501c3. And I think you wanted us to briefly share about a very special friend, what they're doing this month, which is incredible, that we have a beautiful soul, a beautiful person that, as you and all the people that we've been blessed to meet, has changed and literally saved his life. He said this month that he's going to match up to 2,200 stainless steel intention sticks. So for 1,100 being purchased or sold, he's going to donate for those that can't even afford an intention stick of $72. So, and again, the 72 names of God, all Kabbalistic, all numerology and gematria. So there's so many meanings that we didn't even get to share, but
Yeah.
this brought Marla and I to tears of joy of what
Hmm.
this beautiful soul is doing to help so many others. And even from there, which you kindly just said, you're going to donate a silicone one to a child. Same thing after that, he's going to do the same. He's actually, every stainless steel intention stick sold, he's going to also donate a silicone intention stick to a child or a community, a school, and so forth. So this is, we're
Yeah.
just,
We're on the train.
we're
Yeah.
on
So
a
just
locomotive.
right. We are on a look. Right. Now I'm singing, everybody do locomotion. So we're going to put everything in the show notes below for sure. And just, I'd like to remind the listeners also that when this airs for the entire time, I guess, and everybody calls you guys to order an intention necklace and they mention the Real and the Woo podcast, I myself will be donating silicone intention necklace for a child. And Marla and Scott will call me and they'll say, we got one of your listeners, we're shipping one out. And that's how that's going to work because it really is about making people feel valued and valuable. And so, in that way, I just want to say to both of you, thank you, thank you, thank you for making not just me feel valued and valuable, but you walk the walk, you talk the talk. There's no bullshit. You are the shit. And we are going to leave people wanting more. And we will come back at a later time to touch on some of these topics for sure. And then jump off onto some more amazing things that you guys have in the oars and the fire and the water and the flow, really helping the world one stick at a time. Thank you. Thank you.
We honor you, adore you, cherish you, and sending all of your beautiful listeners and friends on this beautiful show and this interview around the world blessings and intentions of gratitude, light, and love.
Thank you. Thank you.